If you grew up in or around Syracuse and you've been quietly wondering if it's time to move back, this video is for you. In this video, we're going over what coming home to Central New York actually looks like in 2026. The financial reality, the family pull, the job market, the weather, and the things most people don't think to ask until they're already back. I'm Tyler Marshall, a real estate agent here in Central New York and the host of Living in Central New York, built for people making real decisions about this market, whether they're moving here for the first time or finding their way back. Let's start with the thing that's driving people to move back. The financial reset. If you left CNY for New York City, you already know what housing costs there feel like. If you moved to Florida or Texas chasing sunshine and lower taxes, you may have noticed that the affordability story there has gotten more complicated. Insurance costs have climbed significantly. HOA fees in a lot of Sunbelt communities are real monthly line items. And the home prices in desirable areas have run up hard over the last few years. Meanwhile, the Syracuse area median home price is still dramatically lower, often 60 to 70% cheaper than comparable space in the city, and increasingly competitive against Florida and Texas markets once you factor in full cost of ownership. What I hear most from people seriously considering coming back is a version of the same thing. They left for an opportunity or sunshine, and somewhere along the way, they did the math and realized their money goes 2 or 3 times further here. Not in a theoretical way, in a way you could actually own a home with a yard and stop renting forever way. That's a powerful feeling when you've been watching rent climb for years in a market that doesn't reward you for staying. The suburbs around Syracuse, North Syracuse, Cicero, Baldwinsville, Fayetteville-Manlius give you real space, real ownership, and a real shot at financial stability in a way that's become genuinely harder to find in the places a lot of people ended up. But let's be honest, for most people, the money is only part of why they're thinking about this. The real pull is family. It's parents who aren't getting any older. It's siblings whose kids are growing up fast. It's a best friend from high school who never left and whose life looks surprisingly settled and full in a way that starts to feel appealing after enough years of big city living. There's something about the CNY suburban experience. In Cicero, North Syracuse, Baldwinsville, Jamesville, DeWitt, where the everyone knows everyone quality that maybe felt suffocating when you were 22 starts to feel grounding when you're 35 or 40. Less lonely, more rooted. The honest flip side I'll give you, if you spent years in a diverse, constantly changing urban environment and you got used to those new faces and new energy all the time, CNY can feel insular coming back. The social circles here are tight and they've been building for years while you were gone. You may need to rebuild more than you expect, and we'll come back to that. But the warmth is real. The welcome home feeling is real. And for people who want to raise kids near grandparents and in neighborhoods where people actually look out for each other, there are very few places in the country that do better than the suburbs we're talking about here. And really quickly, if you are considering a move back to Central New York, I put together a resource for you called the Central New York Master Relocation Guide. It covers everything in one place. Information on neighborhoods, school districts, commute times, and exactly who each community is the right fit for. It's completely free and you can download it using the link in the description. Now, let's talk about the job market, because this is the part that gives people the most pause. And I want to give you a real picture. Healthcare and education have always been the anchors here. Upstate Medical, Syracuse University, the VA, the school districts, stable, consistent employment that doesn't evaporate in a downturn. What's new and genuinely significant is Micron Technology, which broke ground on a $100 billion semiconductor megafab in Clay in January 2026. The largest private investment in New York State history. 9,000 direct jobs and and tens of thousands more supported positions coming into this market over the next several years. That changes the economic trajectory of CNY in a real way. For returners, the honest reality is that base salaries here will often feel lower than what you were making in New York City or a major Texas market. That's real, and I'm not going to paper over it. But the calculation that more and more people are running is lower salary plus dramatically lower housing costs plus no 2-hour commute plus proximity to family often produces a better quality of life outcome than higher salaries minus all of that. And then there's the remote work factor, which has quietly changed everything. A growing number of people coming back to CNY are keeping higher paying out of area jobs, working hybrid or fully remote, and just living here. That combination, CNY cost of living, out of state market income, is a genuinely powerful financial position if you can pull it off. Now let's get into the one that everyone from Florida or Texas is going to ask. What about the winters? I'm not going to sugarcoat it. If you spent 5 or 10 years in Tampa or Austin and you got genuinely spoiled by the sun, the first couple winters back in CNY will feel brutal. The lake effect snow is real. The short days in January and February are real. The heating bills, the car prep, the general logistics of winter life, all real. That's not nothing, and you deserve a straight answer on it. Here's what I also know. The people who grew up here and came back almost universally tell me that reacclimating took a season, maybe 2, and then it clicked back into place. The routines, the events, the way locals just move through winter like it's a season, not a catastrophe. Fall in CNY is legitimately beautiful. One of the best in the country. Summers on Oneida Lake, on the Finger Lakes, on Green Lakes, they're genuinely spectacular in a way that people who've never experienced a CNY summer often don't expect. There is a particular quality to winter life here that's hard to describe until you've had it. The cozy, hunkered down community feel, the hockey games, the way neighbors show up for each other when there's 2 feet of snow on the ground. It's not for everyone, but for a lot of returners, rediscovering that rhythm is part of what coming home actually means. Let's talk about what daily life actually feels like, because the pace shift is something almost everybody comments on. The commute alone changes things. If you're coming from a place where 45 minutes each way was considered reasonable, driving 15 minutes to work in CNY feels almost disorienting at first in the best way. Traffic in the greater Syracuse area is not a serious stressor. Parks, trails, and lakes are genuinely accessible, not an hour away on a crowded weekend highway. Weekends here feel slower and fuller at the same time. Farmers markets, festival seasons, family time that actually happens because everyone isn't exhausted from surviving a high pressure city. Nightlife is quieter. Things close earlier, and if you need that constant stimulation available on demand, you'll notice its absence. What most returners tell me is the trade feels worth it. They describe it as resetting their nervous system. Less reactive, more present. The pace here creates space for the kind of life a lot of people said they wanted but couldn't actually access in the places they were living. Here's the stuff that surprises people most when they actually come back. Property taxes are the first one. They're real and they need to be in your budget, not discovered after closing. Winter prep costs are ongoing. Heating, car maintenance from road salt, roof care on older homes. The job market is growing, but it's still a different animal than what you left. And if your career is specialized, do your homework before you assume you can replicate your exact professional situation here. Schools and suburban life can feel like a dramatic upgrade if you have kids. Baldwinsville, Cicero, Fayetteville-Manlius are genuinely strong districts, and the family-friendly infrastructure here is real. And the social piece, I want to name this directly because it catches people off guard. The welcome home warmth is genuine, but some of your friends moved away too. Some circles dissolved while you were gone. You may be rebuilding more of your social life than you expected, especially if you've been away for more than 5 or 6 years. That's not a reason not to come back. It's just something to go in knowing so it doesn't feel like failure when the first few months require more effort than you anticipated. So who does coming home actually feel worth it for? And who should think twice about it? If you're craving proximity to family, more house for less money, a community where you can actually put down roots, strong suburban schools for your kids, and a pace of life that gives you room to breathe, coming back to CNY is going to feel like exactly the right call. If you genuinely need non-stop big city energy, year-round warmth as a non-negotiable, or you're in a career where the absolute highest salary is the only outcome that works, there are real trade-offs here that deserve honest consideration. But for the people I talk to who've made this move, and there are more of them every year, the consistent thing I hear is that the pros outweigh the cons faster than they expected. The roots pull harder than they remembered. And the life they ended up building here looks a lot more like what they were actually looking for than what they left. And that takes us to the end of this video. When you're ready to move back to Central New York, reach out to me using my contact details below.